Welcome to the In the Tank podcast. Get ready for an hour of hot 40k goodness coming in your ears. You're in the tank now, baby.
It's a 10-second countdown. Right, we are live.
We are indeed live. Sorry, we just had like a NASA moment there where we had like a double countdown effect.
Yeah, I did a countdown and then the actual program did a countdown and I was like, oh fuck.
We've got a supercharged Eddie today because I'm not feeling as like...
Yeah,
as normal,
I'm trying to. I'm Russ's hype man today. So yeah,
do the topics. Yeah.
I've just done a fucking huge line of grey plastic across the desk. I was like,
gotta love that resin. No, it's no the
mate,
hard.
yeah, the resin. Oh, I swear it's that. Yeah,
the hard stuff.
Shit.
I was gonna say the hard stuff would be the forge-rolled resin. How you doing, man? God damn! Like, what a way to start a podcast. Welcome to episode 6. Episode 6 of In the Tank.
6, yeah. God, honestly,
damn.
I was stiffer than Russ looking at Dark Angels last week, so I do apologise. I think it was just because it was my first time on camera in a while. So hopefully warmed up a little bit.
See, I thought that joke was amazing. Like, well done.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
We've got a
no,
lot
so
to discuss today.
we have. How you been, man? I just returned home from Scotland.
You have,
So,
yeah.
there you
You've
go.
had a banging week by the looks of it. You've sent me a few pickies, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was
going to
say,
Instagram.
I've just been sending you like food porn mostly, right?
Yeah,
And being,
literally.
Like,
Do you just
fringe.
take pictures of everything you eat? I was surprised you didn't take any pictures of your shit, to be honest with you, because I was kind of interested to see what it looked like on the way out.
Oh my God. Did you have any food envy whatsoever? Did you have any food
Yeah, I did.
envy?
There was quite a few things on there that I was like, oh, you bastard. So, no, definitely some
Also,
food envy.
I might say one of the coolest store combinations ever of the Warhammer Edinburgh store next to a Ben and Jerry's parlour, which
That's
was
a lethal
like
combo, right?
my dream. I will post that on the Insta because that was sick.
Yeah, do.
And I did buy Morvin Val from like that Edinburgh store.
Shit. Nice.
So
okay.
that's pretty cool. Shout out to Edinburgh.
She's a lady.
She is a lady. She certainly is.
She's a
Shout
lady.
Shout out to Edinburgh. So we did that simultaneously, so it's fine. Shout out to Edinburgh Warhammer store. You guys are actually awesome. And you stock
an awesome store.
They stock Forge World stuff, bro. They had all the Primarchs from 30k in it.
Really?
It was like, whoa.
That's rare.
It's like,
Yeah, you don't
whoa.
see that
And
very
art prints and all kinds of weird shit. So
I suppose it's probably one of the biggest stores in Scotland, right? You know,
it's probably it's probably Scotland's flagship, right? So it's it'd be the equivalent to like Tottenham Court Road or something. So like,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
So great. I had a great time just fucking around Edinburgh. It was also when my wife and kiddo and mum was there, which was pretty cool. So she would look after the boy whilst we partied. So it was all good. How have you been, lad? How have you been?
I've been banging.
What have you been up to?
Absolutely banging. I'm. Do you know what? This will lead into one of our topics. I'm sure you can make a creamy blend, but I am super pumped on the GSC. I've been really enjoying painting them. It turns out, if you paint an army with more than 2 colours on it, then it's actually quite fun to paint. So,
there you go. I will get back to you with this in the next
Yes,
6
I'm
months,
sure you will.
though. And be like, how are you feeling about that, Ed? I will give you your due, though, mate. I will say that, and this is just not me doing our classic rimming thing, but like, your Gene Stealer cults are the nicest painted Gene Stealer cults in terms. Look, just letting you bathe in that. They're the nicest, most
that tongue around my arsehole feels great.
Gene Stealer, mate. Your color scheme is stunning. And well done for figuring it out.
Like, the paint job is taking me a while, and I get why a lot of people do not collect this army. There are 2 reasons why. One, it's fucking expensive because you ever need 1 million acolytes for a start, and 2,
it's Xenogard. It's Xenogard.
Yeah, it is Xenogard. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, they're a challenge to paint, but they're really fun. And like, I'm actually enjoying using a few contrast paints along with some dry brushing and that sort of stuff. And I'm well chuffed with the green on my scheme. That radioactive glow is just so.
Yeah, I think the green with the red in particular like gave me the chubs, man. I was like, that is nice. Like, that is so nice. Yeah. It is a lovely combo.
It took some getting to it, but I'm glad I got there, persevered, and I'm happy with like the rusty kind of. I want them to be like this sort of like cult that's like on a mining uranium on some like dusty Mars planet in like a big hive, and they're all just sort of like popping out from that. You know, they're all irradiated and mutated and shit. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Yeah, exactly. what's not to love about like super irradiated gene stealer cult, right?
Honestly, I haven't seen you since I've known you. I haven't seen you this hyped for a project. So like, I'm keen. I'm kind of like oh shit! I just knocked the mic. I am kind of like sharing. Sorry, I'm so tired. I literally landed yesterday. I'm fucking exhausted.
You're here. That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. I love you that much. I'm here. But yeah, no, dude, I'm so hyped for you because I'm kind of like feeling what I call compersion in your like hobby lust right now, where I'm like, oh, buddy, that's great. Like, enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy that. Enjoy that.
I am loving it. I probably, like you said, maybe 6 months' time, you'll probably like tune into the episode and I'll just be swinging.
Yeah. How's Gene Stealer Cult's going, Ed?
I hate my life. I am one of them now.
I think that is the equivalent of like me building Terminators is your like Gene Stealer Cult thing, right?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, I am super excited for... Do you know what? I love Mad Max, and I've got like the Atalan Jackal bikers. Do you remember those?
I do.
You know, they're such cool models. Oh my God, I'm so excited to paint those. I want to do some.
I will say that the Gene Stealer Cult range is probably one of the most diverse and colourful and distinctive, like,
it's
40k armies.
Literally.
I'm very glad that it's not just like an offshoot of Tyranids, that it is literally its own thing, because it kind of has to be.
It's proper cool. There's a few models in there that I've got a real chub on to paint, like the Patriarch. I can't wait to do him.
Oh, yeah, man, that's going to look cool. Who's the gunslinger guy? Who's that guy? The fucking Roland Deschain.
They are so good now. My lord, in the game, guy. I mean. Like, they have blown up, right? And I think they've got like a Dev Wound pistols with like 6 shots or something like that, because they've obviously got packing 3 of them, packing some heat, right? But if you rock up within 12 inches to shoot one of them, he shoots you and then fucks off. It's amazing.
What I love about that model, right, is it again walks that line between like grim, dark, and derp, where you're like, what the fuck is that guy? He looks like a bit like a, and I mean this in the nicest way, but a bit of like a classic 70s gay cowboy vibe with like pistols, right? And like, to me, that's a complete nod to like the original Gene Stealer Cult's line of minis that were like ridiculous.
Something else.
Where they have like the stretch limo, the stretch limo and stuff, right? Right? And to me, that's great because it kind of it's not quite that absurd. But it does highlight some of like Gene Stealer Cult's like early weirdness, right? Where they are fucking weird.
They were fucking weird. Yeah, they were really fucking weird. Like, I've seen some of the metal models from the OG, and like there's the Patriarch's like sat on a throne, and he's just got a big fat head. Like,
well, he looks like He looks like Harkonnen from Baron Harkonnen from Dune, doesn't he? He looks like
he does. Yeah, actually, exactly that. Yeah.
So I think that was a parody of that, but like, but yeah, and I think Tyranid Story should have at least a couple of armies, considering their threat level to the Imperium. And like Chaos are well greedy. They have like 6 fucking armies by the time that like Emperor's Children come out, and you know, we all suck off the Imperium. So like it makes sense that I am an Imperial man to my core, unfortunately. Although not a guard guy, I'm a snooty Imperialist. Like, I don't play guard, like, so like.
Not interested in you unless you've got secrets to share.
Oh, I love my secrets.
Give me some dirty secrets, bitch.
I do love my secrets. So we better actually crack on with this fucking pod, because we've just been like dossing around for like 5-10 minutes. So it's all good.
Well, on that note, actually, we've dropped a topic this week.
And
we're going to test that for a little while going forward, because we've had some feedback from one of our dear listeners saying that we were rushing through the topics just a little bit, which we both agreed with, because it did feel like the last topic, which the lore topic, usually one of our favourites, was getting a bit rushed because we were usually over time. So,
to the point where I think we should do another Dreadnought lore thing to comment on, because we went through that so fast, and there's a lot to talk about on that subject. So there you go. By the way, Rylanor won the poll on our Insta for the best dread. Yeah, so he won like 80% of the fucking. Wow. So fuck you, space furries.
Fuck you, old boy.
like I'm just having a go at Space Wolves now. I just want to get that jab in that you have the worst.
But you're called Russ.
The worst. Well, I don't want to.
Clearly, your mum hated you. She was like, I look into the future. I see dark angels. I'll call him Russ.
Look, you're going to have fucking words after this podcast, mate. But hey, it's all good because I've gone full circle because I called my fucking son Leo. So that's kind of ironically funny. So there you go. That comes full circle there.
Amazing.
So, trying to wrangle you in, mate. Let's
get me
do
back
the
on
first
topic.
thing.
Let's do this.
So obviously we discussed this in the intro a little bit, how like 6 months later, con gene stealers concerning how you feel about them. And it's something that I think affects all of us at different times in the hobby, which is of course the awfulness of hobby burnout. So what is hobby burnout, and how do we tackle personally and subjectively each other, our own hobby burnouts? So what do you perceive as hobby burnout, Ed? Like, what is hobby burnout to you?
Hobby burnout for me, and I've been there several times over my career of doing painting, it's usually the painting side that gets me, not so much the gaming, but I think that's because I do more painting than gaming.
Sure.
And the gaming is kind of more precious. So the painting side of it, I know I'm burning out when I walk into my room and I go, I can't really be asked to paint that for 6 months. Every night for 6 months. And that's kind of where I get to sometimes. And I've had that with the Necrons because they're the main army that I've painted. I've got nearly 9,000 points of them painted already. And I get in there and I'm just like, I'm sick of looking at you. So fuck off. And then I don't do any more. And that's the problem. I think this is why I'm so reinvigorated, is because I'm doing an army that not only do I love,
isn't metallics
aesthetically, it's not metallics for the most part. There is a lot of rust on there, but it's just fresh, and I think that's the important thing. I mean, is that the same sort of thing for you? Like, how do you?
Yeah, it's just. I to be honest, I'm a weird case because I, being a musician in my life, I've had to have spent thousands of hours in isolation doing the same repetitive task over and over and over again. But even then, I still get had by hobby burnout, which essentially, as you kind of said, that like slumpy shoulders, almost like you're like checking in for your job. You're like clocking in and you're like, right, I've got my second job on top of my job and family or whatever, which is, I'm going to grind away at some painting, and just that sort of like, like, come on now. And that's not a nice feeling to have, when this should be your precious hobby time that you do for fun, right? And I think it is always like those big labor of love tasks where it tends to be like your big, what I call like your main army, so to speak. And I feel the same way about Dark Angels on occasion, although I can paint creamy knights until they go out of fashion, but that's besides the point, really. But like, it's just that lack of motivation where sometimes it just gets overwhelming, where you're just like, I just can't deal with this right now. Like you, actually, weirdly, I rarely get that for games, although some days on a 2-dayer, you kind of feel that if the weekend's not going your way.
I get tired at the end of
fuck.
day one, and you're a bit like, on the first game of day two sometimes, or like the last game of day two, you're really... your feet are killing you and stuff, but it's not a burnout so much as just being exhausted, I think.
At least, I don't know. To be honest, actually, I did feel a bit of competitive burnout, ironically, at the end of 9th edition. Which is weird, because at that time, Deathwing were insanely strong to the point where near the end, they had to have a fucking errata for them.
They did,
for Inner Circle, which killed my soul completely. But like... But like, don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Inward
it still
chub.
hurts to this day. Don't. But like, I got a little bit of like gaming burnout then, but just because it was all very sort of stale at that point, and I just needed something new in my life. But how do we deal with that? Like, how do you push through that? Like, do you push through that? Like, what do you do? I'm going to get all like new agey. I'm going to get new age philosophy about it. But you tell me how you deal with it.
While Russ is climbing to the top of his mountain and getting ready to do a yoga pose and hover.
Look, people like my advice. Like, leave me alone. Like, it's not my fault. I'm a sage.
With it. Look, you sit on a little cloud and float up and down, and then and then you can speak some words of wisdom. Yeah, exactly that. That's how I'm picturing it. But no, so I've got better at dealing with hobby burnout over the years. I think partly because I've got less time now to hobby, which helps because I'm not burning out as frequently because, children take up a lot of time. But I think the best way for me is not to overwhelm. And this is something, as an ADHDer, I tend to go a bit bonkers with projects where I'll build an entire 5,000 points of an army, put it on my desk, and then just go, oh, I can't fucking do it. I can't start. So what I now do is I use two methods. First of all, I use tournaments as a motivator. So for us, we've got this 750 points each that we need to get painted ready for November. And I thought, that's manageable. 750 points of Gene Stealers, that's only 2,000 or 3,000 models. I could easily get that done by November. So I basically, what I do is I only put one or two squads, hopefully usually just one, out on the table in front of me, and I'd put everything else away, and then I just focus on that one squad until it is done. And then I put that one away, and then I bring in the next one, because I find subconsciously, if there's so much on my table that it overwhelms me, I'm less likely to get anything done. And then the motivation comes from needing to get it done by a deadline. So that's how I get around it now. And it works really well for me personally, but I don't know how well that would work for others. So what about yourself?
No. I just wanted to finish off what you were saying by going, that's actually two really awesome techniques, right?
Yeah.
I think you need the concept of knocking things down to what is a short-term goal and a long-term goal. Your long-term goal being, I want this army painted. I want this army, or a small part of this army, painted for an event that I'm going to, right? So I'm going to lock that in. And then obviously the small term goals of going to start with a squad, going to start with a character, going to start with a vehicle. I think you're absolutely right in as much as try and limit your paint desk just in terms of how many paints you need, and also how many models that you've got currently on the go at any one time. My hardest thing for me is finishing projects that I've started. So that's something that I'm learning to deal with. Yeah, I know it's terrible for me. And sometimes I just have to press the button where I'm right, I need to start something completely new, or work on something as a palette cleanser that's either related or unrelated to what I'm currently working on or whatever. I just tend to find the early stages so much more fun, which is base coating, washing, dry brushing. It's when I then have to highlight 3 or 4 Citadel style layers on top of what I've base coated. That tends to kill my soul a bit, because it's so subtle, but it does make the model look so much better. And it just that grinds my gears. Although saying that, sorry mate, what were you going to say?
No, go on, you crack on.
The lion, because it was a labour of love. Oh my God. I pushed through that shit and just got that shit done. And
he is a beauty. You need to bang him on Insta. If you I know he's on your Instagram, but you need to link that into our one as well, so people can see how sexy your lion is.
I was quite proud of that, actually. I was really happy with how he turned out. But he was a good example of I just got to crack on with this. No matter how long this takes, I've got to get this done. But more importantly than anything, and this is where I get on my little rock moment as well, is we've both given solutions to get you back on track, hobby wise, right? And we spoke about something really important, which is life around you dictating behavior, where me and you are both dads now. We're both in serious, long committed relationships where you've got to work on that shit, right? And sometimes there are obviously things way more important than the hobby, and you need to stop a bit, and you've got to go, right, there exists a world around this, and
pump the brakes.
Exactly, and and be fucking kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You see loads of influencers out there which seem to come up with a new army every 5 minutes, or just crack it out, and they're at different times in their life than you. They've got different shit going on. Do you know what I mean? That might be their therapy for them or whatever. And it's it's okay just to go, I'm fucking tired. I'm not going to paint tonight. I'm going to sit around and play fucking Elder Ring or whatever for fucking 4 hours.
Elder's
and that's
Ring?
I don't know what the kids are up to these days.
I think you got a bootleg copy of that. God, I'd hate to smell your breath after that. Fucking hell. Yeah.
I'm dying.
Fuck me. Okay, I'll have to try that one.
Mate, if you suffer from burnout, check out an Elder's Ring. You'll be totally sorted.
That'll get you back to your painting desk pretty quick, I tell you. Face that down.
Oh man, I'm so tired. I'm so tired, everybody. It's like, seriously. I'm soldering through.
I have had this before with models where I've got like, halfway through and I'm just like, oh, I really can't be arsed. And I'll put them away for a few weeks and then I'll come back to them. But you are quite bad with that from what you've told me.
Yeah,
your wife, poor wife, like she must be fed up with you. You only get 60% of the way through the task on any given evening. Poor old Mel.
I'm not even going to comment on that. That's just rude. That's just fucking rude.
I'm joking. But yeah.
Yeah, you'd better be.
It's a good job we're not in the same room, right? Fucking hell. But yeah, so I do know where you're coming from, though. It is, I think I've got a way around that, right? And this is something that I've got better at as well over the years. So when I originally painted my Necrons, my scheme was way too complicated. And I had loads of fucking highlight layers and I had like all this edge highlighting and shit. And it just took me fucking forever to get anything done. And I was like, do you know what? If I was going to paint like more than 2,000 points of this, it's going to be like a jail sentence, like we were talking about with Space Marines, right? In one of the earlier episodes. And I was thinking, there's got to be a better way of doing this. So what I did was I dissected my scheme and I basically looked at it and I thought, what steps can I take out of this scheme yet still yield maybe 80% of the result without losing too much of the sexiness? And I managed to do that. I managed to cut loads of shit out of it. And it takes me probably like half the time now to do it, or like 60% of the time maybe, and it still looks as good, I think. If not, it looks slightly different. It's a different effect, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily worse.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, and I think Peachy's talked about this before, where it's like, because painting an army compared to single miniatures is a completely different skill set, right? And it's like you tend to like do a test model, and you put all your effort into that test model, and you're really proud of it, and then you just look at the other like 9 dudes or 20 dudes that you've got and you're just like, oh no.
Yeah, and this is a lot worse when you start an army for the first time. Like for me with the GSC, I'm just trying to put that out of my head that I've got to do 2,000 points of these eventually plus. Yeah. Because at the minute, look, I've done I haven't even painted 230 points or something yet. Nearly finished 230 points. And I'm thinking that's like 10% of my army. And it's taking me 2 weeks. So don't think about it. Put it out of your mind and just crack on with it. Like, take it piecemeal, break it down, chunk by chunk.
Okay, really great advice there, actually. I will commend you on that because that's really cool. Like, don't scare yourself with the final bit. Again, as previously discussed, enjoy your journey, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not enjoying that journey, then you've got some issues. But I feel the same. I mean, there are some things that I like to spend a lot more time on than other things in my army, like Terminators, because I love
characters.
Them. Like elite units. Elite units go for it or whatever. But as you say, I will always say try and find the easiest out in terms of effort.
And just cut paints out. Like look at the paints you're using for your army and think, do I really need to do that bit there? No. Okay, sack it off. Make it simpler. Exchange it for a contrast layer if you can, or something like that. Just speed it up,
I'll give you one example that I see online all the time, right? Which is like Terminators for me and their belts. So they have this little weird belt around their midsection, which some people paint and some people don't. But what I do as a thing is I just paint the buckle and then the things that connect it to the thing, because I'm like, this is going to be such a pain in the ass to sit here and brown paint that, and if I miss, I'm going to fuck up all my previous layers of white for what? For a fucking belt? I'm not going to fucking do that. Get fucked.
It's the same for me with my GSC. Like when I look at those guys, they're usually packing a lot of shit around their waist. They've got grenades, sticks of dynamite, a pistol. They've got fucking belts. They've got everything. So I'm thinking I could be painting each of those individually, brown belt, this, whatever, But all I do is the whole lot in the same color, and then I just touch up the metals. We're using a metallic on the top, and it looks fine. No one's going to be like, oh, sorry, you haven't painted his individual ball sack on this model. Like, fuck that. Just make it look good and uniform and quick, right? Otherwise, you're going to be there forever and you'll never get it done.
See, now this is where I feel sorry for your wife that you don't pay as much attention to your balls. But there you go.
She calls me Barry Allen for a reason, mate.
This is how we get like
Flash, baby.
This is how we get like deals from like Manscaped or something, right?
Yeah.
We're just like, come on, give us some of that tasty money.
Clean balls.
Clean balls. Oh my God, fucking hell. But there you go. I mean, really good advice there, mate. Like, I love that.
Yeah, likewise, buddy.
That's awesome.
I think we've hit the nail on the head, at least from our own perspectives. If you guys have got any advice that we haven't given today or anything you think that could help, leave a comment. Please do. And
this
also,
reminds me as well.
Give us a like and subscribe.
Call to action. So call to action part the way through the show now. We'll get better. We're getting to the beginning of the show.
We're getting there.
We're literally everywhere. Please, honestly, you cannot imagine. If you do like the show, please fucking leave us likes.
Just
please share us. Talk to us, man. Talk to us. We won't bite that hard. It's fine. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I presume you are by the fact that you're even listening to this, but you know what I'm saying.
It must be somewhere.
Share us. You must be somewhere out there. Yeah. But also, if you're suffering from burnout, you're not alone. We're there with you, and we're your friends. We will help you through it. It's all good.
Yeah, we want things to be picturesque for you.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. So,
can you say that word,
picked a skew.
Can you say that word?
Picked a fucking skew.
Picked a skew? Sorry, is that your attempt? Fuck me.
I'm moving swiftly on.
Yeah,
I'm moving swiftly on.
Jeez.
So if anyone doesn't know, I have a weird way of pronouncing words. Like, it's what it is. And it's
Russ skipped English class for music class. That's what I say.
Do you know what it is? It's actually... Do you know what it is? It's actually terribly, terribly sad. So be very quick about that. So just to like swip this onto you and make this like actually a guilt trip moment.
You feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's because I was incredibly lonely growing up because I lived in the middle of nowhere and had a fun. I never talked to friends because like I didn't really. I was like literally hundreds of miles away from friends.
Oh, no.
No, I wasn't. I was
no shortage of days now, though.
No. Well, there you go. And basically, what I did was I'd read books all day and then not know how to actually say them out loud. So then, when I became an adult, I figured out that I said words like a fucking idiot. And my wife reminds me. My wife reminds me of this on the daily, including sashie, which is everyone's favourite. We've
heard that one enough.
Fucking hell, Jesus Christ! But there you go.
Talking about the past.
Yeah, well done. Wow. You're king of the wet bands today. So, fondest memories or like most regretful memories of the hobby. You know, they can be like gaming ones, friend ones. Like, I love telling a story. Telling stories are fun, mate. Like, let's tell some stories. Let's tell some stories. Gather around, you start everybody.
While I have a think about what I want to say. Because I've got
I've got two memories that kind of stick out to me. Well, gentlemen, fuck off. You're like a vulture. You're like a fucking. You are like a gene stealer or something. Like, you see a limping lion. Like, I feel like shit. I've just come back from Edinburgh, and you're like, I'm gonna fuck him up. And I'm just like, oh god, fucking hell. Yeah. I remember that when you come over at the weekend and I wreck your ass. Fucking like, that's gonna be so much fun. There you go. So. Right. Anyway, so. I'll give you something quite. I went to somewhere quite dark with my pronunciation thing. I'll take you to somewhere quite light and something really lovely. Where taking myself back to my childhood of like that weird age in the 90s, from where I just bought random shit. I just bought like random shit from the hobby because I didn't know anything. This is coming out of second into third ed.
Yeah,
and. I didn't have any money. I didn't know what was going on. I was some stupid fucking kid. And I remember that because both my parents worked quite a lot. My dad was a farmer and my mum was suited and booted. She was a kick-ass career woman. Bless her. Love them both very dearly. I spent a lot of time with my extended family, including my grandmother. And I basically spent the summers with her. And she was just the sweetest lady. And I remember like playing Hero Quest with her.
Oh.
And she used to take me to the, I know, it's so awesome. And she used to take me to the corner shop and buy me White Dwarf magazine. And I remember looking at White Dwarf and just being so like, oh my fucking god, like, what is all that? And just that of kind of slightly knowing the rules, but also not, and reading battle reports. And it was in there that the seed of the Dark Angels was spun because Cypher had just came out as a model.
The old one or this current?
The old one, like the old metal
right?
one from it was 98 or 99 or something.
Yeah, fuck, you're old. Carry on.
It's so fucking old. And I remember the front cover was like a dark Eldar Reaver jet bike just randomly on the front. And Cypher had just came out. And it was a Raven Wing battle report versus Cypher. And I remember my heart was like beating reading that battle report because it was like the Dark Angels tracking him down and trying to find him. And he's being this tricksy bastard. And, and at the end he escapes or something. And I was like,
he always fucking
of course he does. Of course he does.
Yeah.
And just getting lost in those worlds of like battle reports and like, when things were so like new and cool and like my gran being so lovely and like she would like sculpt me like battering rams or something to glue on top of my fucking goblins for Hero Quest. And bless me, we didn't really know the rules all that well.
It's so nice like that she humoured you and like got involved. That's really cool.
Especially from that generation, right? That could have very easily just been like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
But like, and she would buy me like Dragon magazine and Dungeon magazine, which again were like the Dungeons and Dragons magazine. And just this spooky, quite intimidating world, and bless her. And unfortunately, she like passed just before lockdown, bless her heart. But she would always ask me if I still, no, bless you, it's okay. But she would still like ask me like, her like what relationship I have with the hobby still, and I've even got like a canoness in my sister's army, which is like an older canoness because my gran was awesome. She used to like dye her hair purple and all kinds of crazy shit. So I've got this like canoness in my thing called Canoness Joan because her name was Joan, and she has like purple hair and like a hand melter and stuff like that. So she still has a model like in my collection, like
you
dedicated
should rename
to her.
Joan of Kick Ass.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So just a very sentimental, very gooey, nostalgia trip for me there.
Because those sort of days are so nostalgic, right? You think back and it's almost like looking at it, when movies do it, when they've got that sort of hazy kind of dream sort of state. Dude. It's a bit like rose-tinted spectacles.
Dude, it was just like chicken nugs and Warhammer. It was the best. and Sega Mega Drive /
all the time in the world.
Super
you could
Nintendo.
Go through that whole white dwarf page, cover to cover, yeah?
I did. Beautiful. I bloody did, mate. And then would like circle the stuff in White Dwarf that I was after as well. Like it was like Argos catalogue times 1,000.
I remember.
Brilliant.
They were great back then. They were. That's lovely. I've got a very different story from a different era of my life. So I'm gonna come at this from a completely different one. And this is back in 2017, I think it was. So God, nearly what? Hang on, what were we in 2012? Yeah, okay, so a little while ago, a few years ago, I was living in Milton Keynes, and we had a local Warhammer store back then, and this was when you could actually still play in the shop. It must have been just about the end of that kind of era, to be honest with you. Because now you obviously can't. I think it was pre-lockdown was probably the last sort of time, and now not really. But yeah, so I went into this store and I just picked up Age of Sigmar for the first time ever and had some Flesh Eater Courts. I had like 1,000 points of Flesh Eater Courts or something like that. And I was thinking, this would be fun, new game system, never tried it. So I went there to go and play one of the guys from the store. And he played like Skaven, and he had these fucking bouncy dice from like the I think they're the Death Guard ones or something like that.
Oh no, they were the squig ones.
The squig dice.
They?
That was it. The squig
dice. Oh my god. Fuck those dice.
Those things are bullshit. Like they were rolling really hot and bouncing everywhere.
Do you know they're genuinely proven to be, because I'll put a link in or reference it, but a YouTube like couple did a video of that. Sorry to interject, but this is really interesting. They are the worst, most inaccurate dice ever.
I can imagine. They were
and then now they're collector's items. They go for like 80 to 90 quid a set on like eBay and stuff now. So like there you go. They were terrible dice that would bounce around.
they were dog shit. I hated playing against them, and they were knocking models all over the place. It was a nightmare. So yeah, he played Escaven, I played my Fresh Eater course. We played like 1,000 points, and I was like, this is quite cool. This game, I was into it, I enjoyed it. And then there's another chap was sort of watching our game, and I was like, I was packing up, and then he goes. I said to the guy, well, do you ever do any little events or anything here? And he's like, oh yeah, we have these sort of game nights. And then the chap's piped up and was like, well, I've got my Caradron Overlords here. Do you want to have a game now? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? I'm not doing anything this afternoon. So he checked his models down and we played a game, exchanged phone numbers after the game. And then fast forward a fuckload of years, he's now getting married later this year and I'm his best man. So I met one of my best mates doing this through Warhammer. Unfortunately, it was AOS instead of 40k, but beggars can't be choosers. But it's so strange how it had a huge knock-on effect on both of us because we ended up playing loads of Kill Team together. That's how I got into that in my kitchen. We'd meet up once a week and play that for a few years, and then. He went off and did a ski season or two. And then he came back. And when he came back, he was like, can I come and shack up with you guys for a few months while I just get on my feet? And we were like, yeah, come and stay with us. We were living in Oxford at the time. And then eventually he moved out, got a place. And then because he moved to Oxford, he met his now about to be wife. So in a way, if he'd never have played that game of Age of Sigmar against me, he probably wouldn't have met his wife. So he's got a lot to thank me for.
You totally did the effect there, butterfly effect there of yes, if he didn't do this, he didn't do this. Also, from your story, that was a... Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on. No, go on. No, isn't what?
Isn't life beautiful sometimes when these sort of things happen? It's amazing,
To be honest, I actually found that story to be very heartwarming, and the fact that you're now his best man is lush.
It's super cool.
One thing I would pick out from that story is how middle class / upper class you are. By going, so we just went on the ski season for
Well, he went on a ski season. I did a
fair.
Ski season. That was when I was 20, so a long time.
A couple of ski seasons here and there. Not in the cost of living crisis now, are we?
Instructor. That's what he did.
Oh,
for
fair
years.
enough. Okay.
I'm just coming out as chalet boy. I was just Roger the chalet boy. But yeah,
if you rearrange that in a certain way, then you've got trouble. Exactly. But there you go.
But those sort of things are awesome. It's really cool that it brought us together, and we're fantastic mates now. It's been brilliant.
Well, I actually think of how many cool people you meet in the hobby and how they are literally one conversation away from not happening or happening.
Yeah.
It's mad, cool. Isn't it? It is proper mad.
You meet people at events, you meet people at, just your local, whatever, and then who knows where these things will go down the line. And this is, again, one of the best things about the hobby, about how, friendly everyone is and how you always just got something to talk about, right?
Also, it's really fun to live with a really close friend of yours at some point in life. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I've done it a couple of times with two of my
me too.
And it's great.
Yeah, me too. And it goes one of either two ways. It either works amazingly or it's not a good idea at all. But but if it works, it's quite a lovely and quite sacred time in your life where you're actually that was quite tribalistic and quite fun.
It was cool because one of my best mates, so my best mate Alex, him and I went to boarding school together, and we shared bunk bed, and he's the one I talked about in a previous episode when we were playing Warhammer on the bunk bed with his tower and stuff. And he's actually thinking about getting into the hobby, and I'm sure he's listening. That's awesome. But so he ended up moving in with us for a little while when we were in Milton Keynes as well, which was really cool because it was going back to the good old days of being, sort of not bedmates this time, obviously. That'd be a bit weird. I had a wife at that point. Or a fiancé, but yeah.
See, this shows how tired I am that you've given me so many outs there, and I'm just I can't be asked. Chase them around.
It's low hanging fruit, Russ. I'm surprised.
I'm just
fucking tired.
Bedmates. No, dude, no, get him involved, get involved. Who is this? Sorry, can I send a message
is
to
Alex, and the other guy that I met in the Warhammer shop was Paul, and Alex is the guy that I went to boarding school with.
So very quickly, because I'm terrible with names, Paul, congratulations. Like, well done. Like, wicked, mate. You're a cool dude. You sound awesome.
Cool
and
dude.
Alex, get into the fucking hobby, Alex. Just don't let anyone, like, dissuade you from playing Tau. It's okay. Like, it's a meme. It's a meme.
Don't play
Just
Tau.
no, shut up, Eddie.
Behind him. He's not 13 anymore, Russ.
Shut up, Eddie. Don't let me, like, I'll reach through this camera and kick your ass. Like, stop it. Play Tau if you want to play Tau. The vagina heads are the way forward. Like, play it. It's all fine.
He may have been dropped as a child, so yeah, he could be into Tau still. We'll find out.
You dickhead. Like, I love and hate you in equal amount sometimes, Eddie. Bless you. So, on the subject of Tau, very quickly, I'll give you my other memory. I'll give you that other memory. And it involves the Tau, because I was a Tau player once, Eddie, so go fuck yourself.
You were also
and I haven't... I'm sorry we didn't all go to boarding school, mate. So,
Yeah, that silver suppository gets uncomfortable after a few years.
Anyway, so I just needed to take a swing back. I was
fine. You've been the whole way through the pod, like...
still better energy than you had last pod. Anyway.
It's not a lie.
So
he's swinging.
See, I'm getting a bit feisty now.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
firing you
you
up. Go on.
So yeah, no, dude. So the only other really cool memory that I had when I was younger was playing in the Age of Terror campaign back in what would have been 2001, 2002, and I played Tau, and I was a young kid. My best mate, who then later became a really cool, I mentioned him in a previous pod, store manager. I won't name him for obvious reasons. He played in that campaign alongside me. We were like 13, 14 or something.
Yeah.
And I had 500 points of Tau. I actually had more like 1,500 or 2K's worth back then. And the Eye of Terror campaign was really fun because basically all the big events that happen in store would go into like a national tally of like...
so cool, yeah.
Of like then what would happen and stuff like that. And like... I remember like doing really well in this massive multiplayer game where it was like 10 people on both sides and my Tau like in the middle just fucking holding off people. Because I don't know if you knew back then the rules concerning AP. Do you know the old school rules?
Remind me, because it's been a time.
So basically AP, it kind of works the same way now as what happens in Horus Heresy. So AP, the sort of lower number you had, the better. Because essentially, if you, and I'll give you an example, right? If you had like AP4 would bypass armor saves of 4 or worse in terms of essentially just doing devastating wounds going straight through. So if you matched or went underneath their AP of their armor, they wouldn't get an armor save at all. If you didn't, then you just take them out. So if you had an AP1 gun, for example, it could pretty much bypass anything unless they had an invulnerable save. If you had an AP6 gun, it would only work against people with like t-shirt saves or whatever, right? And I remember Tau, Fire Warriors, having an AP5 pulse rifle, which doesn't sound all that hot. But what you've got to bear in mind is that then mows down anything with an armor save of 5 up, which at the time included Eldar Guardians, Orcs, Guardsmen, Tyranids, anything that wasn't a Space Marine, basically,
like t-shirt
got
save
fucking mowed down, and I had rapid fire fucking pulse rifles. So I was like fucking little big horning it with like my fucking 30 Fire Warriors on the top of a hill, just mowing fuckers down.
God, I bet you were
like fucking
with the rest of the gamers.
It's great fun. And basically that victory or whatever got me a major Tau victory for the system that then the store manager then called up like HQ and like
onto GWHQ like, fucking hell, Tau won a game.
This little glasses lad won with fucking Tau. Fucking hell. That army was shit. But the actual story was involved that time period. So essentially my mate who played Chaos would always kick my ass. It was always like a rock, paper, scissors thing where he would always beat me because he always played Terminators and like really hard Chaos Space Marines that I just couldn't, and he always rolled hot. So like I'd pour like 30 shots into his Terminators. He'd never roll a 1. He would just fucking like eat it, and I'd be like, for fuck's sake. But it didn't matter. Like I loved him dearly. He's such a great lad. But I remember because it was a bit like Fight Clubby, where you'd get like 20 kids in, and like you'd all take turns on tables or whatever. And I was
Snap
watching.
A pool cue in half. Off you go.
There was this real, and I don't remember this kid's name, probably for the best, but there was this fucking wanker kid that came in who played orcs, which already they're playing orcs wrong, because if you playing orcs, you should be having a great time or whatever.
Yeah,
and he was just this dickhead kid that was just an arsehole, and even the staff would just like rolling their eyes, going like, "What the fuck is this guy?" And he played like this really. I think he was playing more points than he should have, but he just like spammed boys, spammed knobs, and would just like and just crushed my mate like who was playing Chaos or whatever. And he was just basically being this knob on the centre table, just killing everybody, and like, and just being like, "Oh, there's no one that could beat me, Billy Big Bollocks," or whatever. And I know it's petty, but like, you know, if you badmouth my people, I'll cut you, right? Like, loyalty is its own reward. Loyalty is its own reward. No, you know, like if anyone started on you, Ed, I'd fucking. No, I would fuck him up. I would probably, at least like metaphorically. So there you go. You're part of my tribe now, Ed. Like, you're mine now. I've licked your face. I've licked your face. You're now mine. But essentially,
thought we wouldn't talk about that.
Always
not supposed to tell anyone.
But my mate just seemed really gutted. He was, and it wasn't fun or whatever. And I remember exactly what list I was playing at the time. I played 20 Fire Warriors, 10 crew, a Battlesuit Commander, a Hammerhead, and I think I had some points left over for like some stealth suits or something. Yeah. That was 500 points back then. How crazy is that now when you consider what... Yeah, man. And basically, the battlefield was like a sort of orky sort of style... like a bastion, like a fortress. Yeah, thank you. I was struggling with the word there. I was doing the bowl with my hand. An orctress, one would say.
Yeah, an orctress.
And this orctress, and basically, he talked shit about the Tau, and he was basically like, "Oh, you're playing Gundams. Oh, I'm gonna fuck you up."
Hand.
And basically what I did is because everyone goes through like a Frank Miller stage or whatever, I had just watched 300/Red 300, right? So I came at this like all fucking like classics vibe, right? And I was like, I'm gonna wreck your face. So basically what I did is I deployed around, the Orctress had one massive gateway coming into it, right?
Yeah.
And basically I deployed on the inner side of the Orctress.
You fucking hot-gates him, didn't you? You hot-gates him.
I totally did. And I basically created a rapid fire range killing floor.
Amazing.
Around it, right? With my Hammerhead outside, like picking off his vehicles or whatever. And he was all Billy Big Bollocks, and he came through, missed his charge. And then I proceeded to basically table him on turn 2.
Amazing.
Where, like, literally, I remember picking up, like, fucking, like, so many Fire Warrior dice. Like, it was like 40 or 50 Fire Warrior shots. And I rolled hot, and everyone on the table was like, "Whoa!" And I just remember, and he goes, "What's the AP?" And I was like, 5, so you don't get AP, bro. And like, his fucking army disappeared.
That's boys.
It's disappeared. And I remember looking at like the GU manager at the time, who was on the painting table. He was really solid. He was like really cool with me, and he showed me how to highlight for the first time. And he was just like chuckling.
Did he look at you and go,
like, doing his highlighting? And he was just like, laughing at me. And like, and the guy was getting all shitty, and he just turned to me and was like, if you can't lose, you can go home. If you can't lose, you can go home. And the game wasn't even over. The game wasn't even over yet. And he said to the kid, he was like, "If you can't lose the game, you can go home."
Yeah.
And just, dude, he basically got tabled. And I know it's one of those stories where it's like the whole world was like, "Way, well done," pat on the back, right? But I don't know. For me, it was more like getting revenge on him for like my mate, right? And like, I don't know. It just was such a pure sort of like fuck you moment where actually it was just really fun, and you just love those adversity moments where you're just like, I leveled up my game then. And it was just so much fun. It was just so funny. And this kid almost cried. It was the best.
Amazing. Hopefully he took away a lesson from that, and was less of a bell end afterwards. So.
Don't be a fucking dickhead. There's the lesson to take away from that. And lose. Be okay to lose. Any more memories? You'll be rapid fired by fucking pulse weaponry.
Yeah, exactly. Hot gates, motherfucker. I mean, I've got loads of stuff, but I think in the name of time, maybe we should actually skip over our next section and jump straight to our lore topic, because I reckon...
Oh, wow, yeah.
I reckon we've got a lot to talk about here, because... what's this in my notes? It says, which Primarch would we like to fuck? Is that right? And would you be a top or bottom? Hang on, have I got the right notes?
I can tell you... I can tell you right now.
To see return. Oh, next. Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
They must be.
I can tell the audience right now. I imagine that they probably have guessed this already, but I would be top 99% of the time, and I'm pretty much certain that you would be bottoms 99% of the time.
Thank you for that. Which time would you fuck though?
Do we need to ask that question? Do we really actually need to ask that? Of course it would.
I think I'd go for Corsari Khan, because at least it'd be over. No, sorry, Corsari Khan. What's his name? Who's the leader of the White Scars?
Jackatai,
yeah. So it'd be him, because at least it'd be over quickly.
No, I'm sure he'd be nice and sort
He'd be nice and gentle. He'd be like, what's his name? Carl Drago from Game of Thrones.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus.
We're not making that joke. You need to get in your hole, young lad. Not literally, but get fucking in.
All right, on to the actual
No, I want to finish up. God damn, you're so frenetic. What I was going to say on that subject, there's an artist that I follow on Instagram, which is amazing, and I'll name drop you at some point because I forgot who you are, but they did the gender flips of the Primarchs, but anime style.
They're pretty cool.
And I tell you what, I am shocked by how much I swooned over Lehman Russ, where it was I'm questioning everything. And it was this badass Scandi Viking, Lagertha style Vikings lass, who's and I'm
you were
what am I
going
to
do? Your pants do not betray me. No!
I was like, oh no, I feel things.
It's a little mini job for female Russ.
I don't know what that says about me. Anyway,
we'll unpack that in a later episode.
Also, Lagertha, oh my god, she's the best. Anyway, so which Primarch would we like to see return and why? Traitor and Loyalist selection, please, Ed. So can I have both for lore reasons and personal or whatever? Yeah. So who would you like to see returned and why?
So I think from a Imperial perspective, I would probably go with hang on, where is it? I think having Russ return would be pretty cool. I know you're not a big fan of the Space Wolves, but he's a pretty cool fucking dude, right? He would come back and be taking some fucking names, and he's alive still, right? He's in the warp. Is he lost in the warp or some shit?
I don't know how accurate this is, but I think he's trying to find the fruit, isn't he, to bring the Emperor back to life, right?
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
He's off on an adventure. He's off on a warpy adventure. Yeah. I mean, he is the Allfather. He is basically like Odin, isn't he? And how I perceived him returning is all fucked up. He's got one eye. He's got an eye patch. He's all a bit crusty. He's found the 13th company in there and brought him home or whatever. Oh yeah, see, 13 company bodyguard. Yeah. 13 company bodyguard
would be pretty fucking cool. I'd love to see a haggard, warp torn kind of Russ who's come out and he's just fucking
Although what I will say, controversially, Horus Heresy Russ is a pussy because he could have killed Horus and he didn't because he's a fucking pussy. And also the lion knocked him out. So
did he?
All this shit. Anyway,
so I think he'd be my loyalist one. Can you imagine if he was a little bit, because of the warp energies and shit, he'd gone a little bit mutated, wolf energy?
Yeah, his fangs are a bit longer. He's all grey. Yeah, I think all white haired. What I do like is we kind of seen it with the Lion, which was like my birthday. All of my birthdays and Christmases combined was the Lion returning. I even made a really gushy Instagram post on it when it was like teased or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I do like the idea of like the Imperial Primarchs coming back a little bit older and a little bit more sort of evolved, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How like
experience,
right? How like the demon Primarchs came back and like they're all fucked up because they're
all
obviously
infused
demons.
with chaos energies, and they're all like.
But how the loyalist guys have come back, and they haven't come back quite the same either.
No.
How they're a little bit more worn, a little bit more thing. The only one who probably is completely untouched is Guilliman, weirdly, because he's been in like stasis. Sure. Stasis is another word. Stasis. Yeah. Stasis. Whatever.
Stasis. Status. Whatever you want to say.
And I find that a little bit boring with Guilliman looking exactly how he always has done, matching his personality, quite frankly. But but the idea of Russ coming back all battle worn and all like grim is just the coolest. I not being a Space Wolf fan, I think that would be fucking awesome. That'd be fucking awesome. Coming back with his 13 company bodyguards, ready to nail his.
Do you want to go now, and then we'll go on to Chaos after that, and both do one? Yeah, right. You go Imperial.
So my Imperial one is because it's my second favourite Primarch, Jagatai. I want to see Jagatai come back.
Yeah.
I want to see Jagatai come back with some Eldar mates and possibly forge a alliance between, or a more easy alliance between the Eldari and the Imperium.
Sure.
Because as a way of getting back through, maybe Sekarath, hanging out with Sekarath. At least the Harlequins and the Eldari. Obviously, he hates the Drakari, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, coming back with them and being a bit more like, actually, these guys aren't that bad. And
correct me if I'm wrong here, but Guilliman's been playing hide the sausage with an Eldari lady, hasn't he?
That's the rumours. That's the rumours. But like,
okay, yeah, I thought so.
But with Eldraine, is it Yvraine? Yvraine is.
Yeah. God of. She sort of represents death, right?
She's the personification really of the Eldari god of death, right? And like she's not the avatar of it, because that's the
no, that's the that thing that we've all been hiding from every time we play Eldar. The Incarn is the god of death.
Yeah,
right?
and then the Visarch is her bodyguard, right? Like the red guy.
Visarch is cool,
But even then, like, I don't think Guilliman can out and out be pro Eldari without the Imperium being like, he's a heretic, burn him. But I don't think Jagatai gives a shit. Like, I think Jagatai would just be like, these bros help me in the webway and to get my way back. Also, he's fucking cool. Like, he was, he was a Siege of Terror vet. Like, he has.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
If they brought him back, did like a fucking cool model for him, right? Okay, and then they made proper bike units for Space Marines, like some really cool, like speeder bikes, like the Horus Heresy ones, but like a bit 40k version.
I also thought of something very heretical as well.
Oh yeah,
have them be available for both the Eldari decks and the White Scars decks.
Okay, that would blow some beans, I think. There's some
there
people
you go.
won't be happy about that.
Well, fuck them. I don't care. Fuck you. Like, move the hobby forward. Fuck off. And just have him like really pro Eldari and cool and mechanically be awesome. Like fast, like make him the fastest Primarch.
Kind of guerrilla warfare. That's what I'm into, mate. I love it. That's
hit like a tank, not be particularly tough, but like smash face. Like, man. And have, if he needs an Emperor's relic, give him the Emperor's lance.
Would he
I don't know, just
mounted?
throw him. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
A big ass speeder bike.
His jetpack, his jet bike that he had in the Heresy, like his big old jet bike.
They're a bit like the Custodians jet bikes, aren't they? They're big boys for the Primarchs.
But Primarch size, bro. Like, that thing's
bigger
fucking
than
a taxi. That thing's a rhino. Like, fucking, like put him on it.
So sliding into Chaos, I have one that I really want to come back because I think the model that they could do for this would just be fucking insane, and that is Perturabo.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to say that. He was almost my choice. He was like my second choice.
He's so cool.
Dude.
Fuck.
Dude, even if he is an angsty teenager, I think that model would look so stunning because he would be kind of
massive, like biomechanical fucking tank, basically. With like,
I'm thinking like almost like dreadnought armor that he's wearing, right? Like
I'm thinking like maybe like a mega dread or like some kind of fucking big sort of those what are the weird robots that they oh my lord, everything's falling out of my brain. The AdMech have the
Castellans.
The breaches.
Oh,
he'd have like some kind of treads like those, and he'd be all like huge on top of it with fucking like guns everywhere. Like,
there's no official artwork of him as a demon Primarch yet, right? But there's been loads of great artistic representations of
there's
him.
one I've got in mind, which is
I know
cool.
it's the same one. It'll be the same one in my brain.
It's really good. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think he would look so cool. And he would be like a little mini fire base on legs, right? He'd be like an epic. He'd be like just like fucking,
just fucking drilling everything, and also
hard,
be really tough, because like the Iron Warriors are known for like their laying down fire, and also they're just stalwart little fuckers, aren't they?
Iron within, iron without. One of the best, certainly one of the best sayings of any Space Marine Legion. I'll give them that.
It's pretty fucking good, So that's my choice. What about you?
I'm going to choose the actual villain of the piece, Lorgar. Because
so many people fucking hate Lorgar.
Right? I love Lorgar.
I love Lorgar.
Look. Okay, right? Okay. The word bearers are arseholes, and Erebus is the biggest cunt in the saying ever, right? I totally understand. But if you compare how interesting Lorgar is compared to Horus, he is a far more interesting character. He has far more reason to be anti-Imperium with Monarchia being raised, right?
Yeah.
And he's just so interesting. And the fact that he looked like the Emperor Reborn, essentially, because he looked more like him than any of the other thing, is so deliciously twisted.
Yeah.
And I really like the word bearers and their whole development through the heresy or whatever, right?
Sure.
And they have one of the biggest, most well-organized traitor legions that still exist, right? Yeah. Like in terms of their hierarchy and how many they have, right? And they gave the Ultramarines such a fucking kick in during the Horus Heresy. That was like sweet. Even though we did get an awesome Guilliman moment as a result of that, but whatever. I would love to see what he looks like, because obviously he's an undivided prince now, right? And there are some awesome artistic representations of him that look really cool. And if he was to mobilize the entirety of the word bearers, like that's fucking have a fucking McCrag number 2 storming out. Holy shit! Can you imagine that?
Mental image of him in my head where he's like covered in runic armor, like there's just runes all over it, like burning in his armor. That'd be so cool. Like big loads of parchment and seals and stuff hanging off him.
And the fact that the Book of Lorgar kind of became a holy tome in the modern world that
isn't he
used
packing
to
a fuck off great mace like Sauron? Like he's got a massive mace,
massive mace, a massive mace, which would have all been twisted as well and stuff like that. And and he'd probably feel a lot more like hard than he ever did, because obviously he was kind of like dismissed as being the weak one out of all of the Primarchs, right? But to now be like supercharged by all 4 of the
I'd almost like him to stay like pure in his form rather than be like really demony. I'd like him to be the other way, where he's like really imbued but still quite human in his form.
I've seen like artistic representations of him where he is very demony, but he's got like the 8-pointed star as a crown.
That's cool. I'm into that.
Dude.
I'm into that.
So it looks all very Jesus-y and like Crown of Thornsy, which I'm like, oh, that's pretty epic.
You can have him have like some kind of rule where he's like the word of Lorgar and he just like booms someone off the table.
Or just instantly battle shocks them or something. Like no roll required, just like you just like fuck. Like you have exactly. You have 0 OC. Do you know what I mean? And and I think he was a latent psyker, like all of the Primarchs were, but he wasn't a psyker during the heresy. So give him some obscene warp powers and stuff like that. Cool. And give him an ability associated with each of the 4 chaos gods that he can turn on and off as well.
Yeah. Or give him some kind of ability to like preach from the Book of Lorgar that does, and he can like do different effects. That'd be cool, depending on the god.
But the fact that, like I said, like the Imperium like have no idea that like the Book of Lorgar was the fundamental like spiritual teachings of what they now use today, and the Imperium like bequeathing the Emperor as a god or whatever is kind of deliciously ironic.
Yeah.
And the fact that he would know, and he's just like, "Oh, you're such saddos! Like, what are you doing?"
I think we need to see an Imperial Primarch first, because we've got quite a few of the... I don't think we're going to see another one of other ones. Realistically, it's going to be... what's his name with the Noise Marines, right?
So this is what I was going to say. Yeah. So I reckon we're going to get Fulgrim at the end of this edition. In 11th. I reckon, I'm thinking 10th.
They said they wouldn't do it this edition, I think. They said they're going to just give us this little shitty addendum, and then next edition...
I don't think they specified that, mate. I could be wrong, but I thought they said it's a long while away.
Right,
yeah. I think they said it's a long way away, and I reckon they're going to do exactly what they did with the World Eaters in 10th, which is release it just at the end of 10th.
Sure.
And then in that weird in-betweeny time period, maybe we get another Loyalist Primarch
That'd
be
great, yeah. I'd love to see one. I think... Because they're going
and then you've got the 3, and then you've got the 3 return, right?
some... They have to kind of... Once they've done all the Blood Angel stuff, I feel like the next Legion that's going to get a major rework of models
Space Wolves, right?
is Space Wolves. So I feel like that's the time to get Russ back. Oh, God. Don't me, Frodo.
Although I don't think we're going to get Russ back that soon from a lore perspective, because he needs to come at what would be essentially the end times of 40k. Right? Yeah. So I don't think we're going to get him quite yet in terms of lore. But, I know, sorry, buddy. Sorry to piss on your bonfire. But we'll see. But what would be cool, actually, is if we had some sort of representative of Sanguinius, maybe via the Sanguine or Dante, in the same room as Rabute and the Lion. So it'd be like the Unremembered Empire Part 2, almost.
Yeah.
And have those 3 just like chilling in a room going, "Oh, we're so fucked. What are you going to do? Oh, fuck."
3 Primarchs chilling in a hot tub.
Hot tub!
Well, not 3 Primarchs, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, or essence of Primarch.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, who do you want to see come back? And why is it not Korax? Because no one gives a shit.
God, you really hate on them a lot. Like, there's one Legion you just shit on continuously. From episode 1, and I remember it.
See, I feel like I'm punching up when I take the piss out of the Space Wolves, because everyone sucks off the Space Wolves. They're like, "Oh, the Wolves are the most strongest Legion." And I'm like, get fucked. They're actually not, and read some lore. But it feels like I'm punching down when I'm like attacking the Raven Guard, because they're so unrepresented, and the handful of Raven Guard players that are out there are like, "Oh, I don't think that's very fair." And I'm like, crawling in my skin.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm sorry. I actually feel bad about the Raven Guard thing, but you still have a shitty Legion, and you need to probably play a better army. So, there you go.
Right. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. But yeah, so please do give us a like and subscribe if you do want to hear more of us coming in your ears every week. And, you know, follow us on all the stuff, Instagram. We're on all the podcast sites. So just, you know, and get involved. Give us a comment. If you've got any topics you'd like to suggest or anything else, just let us know. And if you've got any comments on what we've been talking about this episode, share your thoughts.
Exactly. Like, you guys are amazing. We love you all. I'm loving this. You loving this, Ed? You loving this?
Yeah, I'm loving it. We're here every week. Like I said, until death do us part, work-wise forever. Russ is like, fuck, what am I getting myself into?
It's all good. I love you, buddy. It's all good. And we're gonna probably put some stuff on social media concerning our game at the weekend, because you're coming to visit me.
Yes,
that'd be fun.
Can't wait.
So there you go. Place your bets now. Place your bets now. Well, we'll see. I've got some shiny Deathwing Knights now, so we'll see.
Yeah. I'll just bring the Silent King and ignore your -1 damage. No, I wouldn't. Whatever. That's not very nice.
I'll just play the game, you know.
I'd actually really like to bring the Gene Stealer costs, but I don't know if I've got enough of them to bring 2K yet. So they'd all be grey as well, which is a bit...
Especially because I'm coming at you in a competitive sense, so I want you at your best, lad.
Jeez. All right, cool. We'll see what happens.
Gauntlet is thrown. Right, love you all. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you very soon. Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye. Cheers.
See you in the next
one.
Ciao.
Ciao.